Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Adnor Docs Career Thrivers Show. We are changing up the format on a Monday morning to make it more informative for you, our viewers. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Today, we are going to discuss interviewing. Thank you to everyone on the replay. So, before we get into interviews and interview preparation, I thought it would be beneficial to all of us that you have a sense of what are the employers' buying motivations? Why do people hire you? I want you to think of the interview as a process that begins before you actually get dressed up, have your resumes printed, and you go to someone's office for an interview, or you get online on your Zoom and you're ready to have that interview. We're going to have that conversation next week or in the weeks thereafter. But today, I wanted to speak about the employer's buying motivations. Why does an employer want to hire someone? Well, there are many reasons. So let's get into it. It's something new. All right. So the employer has several motivators for why they want to hire someone. An employer is usually looking, number one, to make money. They're looking to hire someone who's going to enhance their practice, who's going to enhance their organization, and help them do what they're in the business to ultimately do, which is to make money. The second thing that you want to consider, employers are there to save money. So they may hire you to actually save them money, right? So you want to consider as you're going through this process and as I'm giving you this information, what are employers looking for and what can I contribute to an employer? So the second thing they're looking to do is to save money. The third thing employers are looking to do is to save time. So, how can you help your employer to save time? What do you bring to that organization that will help them to save time? They're hiring you to make the work easier. They are not hiring you. I like to say that employers, there is training in every job, but employers are not hiring you to train you. They are not hiring you to learn, they are hiring you to work. And they're hiring you to work to make work easier for them. Employers are generally also hiring you to solve a specific problem. So, as you are considering interview questions such as tell me about yourself, etc., I want you to think about what specific problem can I solve for an employer? The next thing employers are looking to do is that they are looking to be more competitive, right? And you have to consider how can I, as an employee, help this organization to be more competitive? What is my secret sauce? What am I bringing to the table that will make this organization more competitive? By considering these things, you are also thinking about how I can highlight the value that I am bringing to this employer. Number 7 is one of my favorites because it encompasses so many different things. It's you are there to build relationships. You're there to build the brand or the image of the company with the internal and external customers, with vendors, as well as the public. So your role, it's not merely, I am just here to do this job. You really have to consider it on a more broader basis, that you're really there to build relationships, to build the image of the organization with people within the organization, as well as external customers, vendors, and the public. In 2020, 2021, diversity and inclusion was really important to a lot of organizations, and you saw them hiring individuals which would enhance those relationships, build their brand image with internal and external customers, with vendors, and with the public. For my international clients, you find that a lot of time their language skills helps their employers to build those relationships. So if you have those language skills, especially if you're looking for work in a community in which your language skill is necessary and prevalent, be sure to highlight that in your documents. You want to highlight that in your interviews. The eighth thing is they're here to expand their business. Employers are not here, our intention most of the time is to expand, is to grow as a business. And even if that growth means an internal growth, that we expand the quality of our products, that we expand the quantity of the products that we're delivering, not that we're necessarily expanding to um, another location or something like that. It may be different ways of expanding the business. So you want to continuously consider, how can I contribute to the expansion of this business? The next thing that employers are there to do, they are looking to attract new customers. And this is why I'm looking to hire you, right? So you want to consider, how can I contribute to my employer attracting new customers? And finally, they need to retain customers. And this is one of the main reasons why employers hire, because it's harder to get a new customer than it is to retain an old customer. So employers are looking for those people who will help them keep the customers that they have. So it's not always about growing, as I said before, it's not always about expanding. Sometimes it is about, how can I keep what I have? So that was the ways in which employers are looking to, why the employers are looking to buy your services, right? What are the buying motivators for employers? I am of the firm belief that we are not here just to survive, that the jobs that we do not have to just be survival jobs. And really, someone was telling me recently about a definition that they heard about the difference between work and jobs. And when I thought about it, I had to agree, because a job is something where you just get up, you go, have to do it, where's my paycheck, right? But work, especially meaningful work, it is something that you pour your passion into. It's something you pour your heart into. It is something that it's something you'll get up and do on a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. because you're that motivated about it, right? And for everyone, it's not about the cash. Sometimes it's about what you do in that job. So as you're considering preparing for your interview, my goal today was to help you consider what employers are looking for in their employees when they are making those decisions to hire. So I'm just going to run through them again pretty quickly because our time is almost up today. But here we go. So the employer buying motivators. Number one, make money. They're there to make money. Your question to yourself as you're preparing for your interviews, how can I help my employer make money? Number two, save money. Again, as you're preparing for those interviews, how can I help this employer save money? How do my knowledge, skills, and experience help an employer to save money? Save time, right? Sometimes we don't consider that our work is time sensitive, that there's an urgency that we should bring to the projects. If you're that person who understands all of the intricacies of a project and you're like, you know what? Yes, there's a time for research, there's a time for thinking about it, there's a time for feeling about it, but action time and go time is now. You're the person that's there to save time. That's one of the things that you want to bring to your answers to those interview questions, that you're a time saver. Number four, make the work easier. How can I and how do I make this work easier? Some of us make some things look really easy, and others are looking around like, how are they doing that? How is he writing that portfolio in 2 days? It normally takes us 2 months, right? Of course, he may be using tools and technology, and this is where you find your knowledge, your skills, your experience You are the person who is using all the current tools and technology to make the job easier. This is something that you're going to incorporate into your answers for your interview questions. You are there to solve a specific problem. Maybe that's one of your secret sauce. That's one of your skills, solving problems. You are there to make the company be more competitive. Consider, how am I helping employers to be more competitive with my knowledge, my skills, my experience? You already know number 7 is my favorite. I'm a relationship builder. I believe that everything begins and falls apart on relationships, especially when it comes to employers and relationships in the workplace. So building relationships, building that brand, bringing that image, and you're doing this with external and internal customers. And consider that your coworkers may also be customers for your organization, right? What type of a coworker are you? And again, those vendors and the public. If you're in a public facing role, what are you bringing to the organization? How are you interacting with the public? Expanding the business. Employers are looking to expand their business, and perhaps the consideration may be, how can this person help me to expand my business? Attract new customers. How can you help your employer to attract new customers? Are you bringing a community with you? Are you bringing, again, that special language skill? Are you bringing the social media skills? In today's world, there's so many things that you can bring to your employer, right? So you have to consider, how am I helping this organization to attract new customers, new clients? And finally, retain customers. It is always easier to keep a customer than to lose one and have to bring in a new person and to find new customers. It's always easier to keep customers, to retain customers rather than to find new customers. So thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for our journey when it comes to interviewing October. Keep in mind that this is the month where a lot of employers are looking to hire. We're on to that final push for the year that takes place between October and early November in terms of hiring. So if you're not getting your interviews yet, you haven't submitted those applications, now is the time. You're tapping into your network. But for those of you who have your interviews already set up, keep in mind that that interview may begin not when you're there. That interview starts before. That interview starts when you receive that email inviting you to interview. That email and the way in which you respond to it is critical. That's a part of the interview process. How is this person responding to emails? That phone call that you receive, I just wanted to chat. It's not a chat. It's an interview. And I need you to get into that mindset. Some of us have a habit of answering the phone, and I'm going to get into this next week, but here's a preview. The interview begins the way you answer the phone. If you're answering your phones with suspicion or aggression or silence, none of those things are good ways in which you want to answer your phone, especially if there's an employer on the other end, right? So we're going to speak about that next week. Yes, the interview begins immediately, Carol. It begins when you submit that application. Once you've indicated to that employer that you're interested, you can consider the interview to have begun. And this is where your LinkedIn profiles come in. The first thing I am going to do, and I have done this as an employer, I peruse and I go to LinkedIn to see what's going on there. Does this person have a profile? Is this profile a mess in the streets? Everything about you speaks. So to help with that, in my link in bio, there is a link to a free LinkedIn profile optimization where you can download. I have actionable tips. Adnor Docs is not about the vague. It's about things that you can do immediately to take action for that you can see an immediate improvement. So Thank you for joining me this morning. Again, you can use that link in bio to download our LinkedIn optimization. I'm also going to add to it for October and early November an interview prep edition. So thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.